That's not me.
Not me.
Somebody's phone, that's on hold. That's a city out of Norwich on hold phone.
Oh,
I think that was
Can everybody
Dan.
hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Dan.
We're going to start. So I just have a few rules to read before I'll turn it over to Rich and Mark to start the meeting. This is a web-based meeting, so we're operating under the following procedures. The session is being audio recorded just like every other ZBA meeting. Please be advised today that we are also recording the video of the proceedings. To ensure sound quality, the default rule for this meeting is that everyone should remain on mute unless they're speaking. Commissioners and staff will generally remain on mute except when speaking or voting. I'd ask that people state their name before they vote. Applicants and members of the public should have their video off. During public hearings, all the normal rules, including stating and now spelling your name and address, still apply. You can either raise your hand to speak, or it's a relatively small meeting, so we can probably just let people speak when they need to. If you're speaking at this meeting and have an exhibit to submit to the commission, which was not distributed in advance of the meeting with the rest of the materials, please indicate that you wish to submit an exhibit. You will need to provide a description of said exhibit so that the commission and all members of the public may review it. In addition, you'll have to email me and Rich the exhibit, or take a photograph and email it to staff, and we have to include it in the permanent records for the commission. Members of the public may only speak during an open public hearing. If a member of the public speaks outside of a public hearing or creates an audio or video disruption, they may be ejected from the meeting upon recommendation of staff or the chair. And with that, I'll turn it over to Rich, Mark.
All right.
Okay, Mark, I don't know if you want to start. I got off the phone with Dave 5 minutes ago. He's still not in.
Okay.
Somebody did just sign in.
I'm in.
Okay.
Okay, good. All right. If everybody's in, we'll call the City of Norwich Zoning Board of Appeals for Tuesday, June 8th via Zoom meeting. We'll call the meeting to order. For ease and the fact that we're all trying to do this from home, and I don't know if everybody has a flag present, I think we're going to skip past the Pledge of Allegiance, if that's okay with everybody. June 9th, I guess. And roll call. Dave Martin.
Present.
Dottie Travers.
Present.
Greg Schlau.
present.
Peter Kuprak.
Present.
Bob Phoenix.
Present.
Mark Benjamin present. We've had a change, Rich. You said Joanne's no longer a member of the board?
Correct. She resigned.
Okay. Rich Shuck, you're present, correct?
Correct.
Catherine Rose.
Correct.
Okay. Mr. Deniska.
Present.
Okay. Is that everybody from staff, Rich?
Yes.
Okay. So we do have a quorum. We can conduct business. Any communications, Rich?
None.
Okay. Acceptance of the March 10th, 2020 regular meeting. I would suggest we make a motion to postpone that until we all have them in our hands and move on those minutes, unless anybody sees a reason not to.
I've just been reading over the minutes. If you would, I defer to the chair. If you would like to see a physical copy in hand for all members, I'd make a motion that we postpone the minutes until then.
If I could get a second.
I'd second that, Mr. Chairman.
All those in favor to postpone acceptance of the minutes until we all have them physically and we meet in regular person?
Aye.
All
Aye.
right.
Aye.
Aye. This is Dottie. Aye.
Thank you, Dottie. As we vote, we're gonna have to, as Dan said, call our name, so I got it. I am also voting in favor. I believe that is unanimous. Is that correct? Dave, did I hear from you?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. All right. Motion passes. We'll continue. We'll hold those until next regular meeting. Excuse me. Old business, seeing none. New business. 20-08, 108 Onico Street, request for variance, section 4.8, non-conforming building and use to expand a non-conforming use by constructing a 22 by 14 foot dormer on the rear of a non-conforming residence home in the neighborhood commercial zoning district. Applicant Isabel Rentas, Assessors map 84, block 1, lot 3, neighborhood commercial zoning district. Isabel Rentas.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
Mr.
hold on. We gotta just go to Rich and make sure he has all the documents.
Okay.
Prior to Rich, Mr. Chairman, if I may, you said 20-08, it is 20-03 is the application number.
Okay, I have my screen minimized so I can see your faces, and I believe you. I only wearing 100s on the glasses. It's time for some new ones. Thank you. So we'll stand corrected, 20-03.
Okay, so on the exhibit list for 2003 108 Onico Street was A, the public hearing posted on the city website, the ZBA application and grounds for appeal, notice of public hearing and the abutters letter, list of abutters, the vision card, a sketch of the dormer, photos of the house, a plot plan, and an agenda to the applicant.
Okay. Everything's in order, Rich. We can move forward with this?
Yes.
Okay.
And if during the hearing anybody wants to see an exhibit, they can just ask Dan to move to that page.
Okay. Everybody's good? Everybody's all set? Hearing none?
Yeah.
Is the applicant present? And if so, could I have your name and address for the record, please?
My name?
Yes, please.
Oh, my name is Isabel Renta. My address is 108 Onico Street, Norwich, Connecticut.
Okay. Explain to the board what you'd like to do and why you need a variance to do it, please.
It's in the papers because I really don't know. The constructor, the one I'm hiring, is the one gonna do it. So it's only lifted up the roof because it's too low. That is the only one we want to do. We can make an extra room because my husband is too tall. When he tried to get up, his head hit with the roof. That's why we want to lift it up. You understand me?
Yeah, so basically you've got a low ceiling, you need to put a dormer in to raise the height so you can actually stand up.
Yes, that's why.
And the way I understand it, no matter what you want to do on this property, since the house is already non-conforming, you can't do any expansions, and everything you're doing is within the plane of the house. You're not going wider, going further towards the lines.
No, we don't gonna put in explanation. We don't gonna do it. It's only lift it up.
Okay. Does anyone on the board have any questions?
Yeah, Bob,
No, this is Dottie. No, I don't have any questions. The only one comment that she said, I assumed that she wanted it higher because she needed her son to stay there. If I got it right, I wasn't sure. To live there? I don't. To make it higher, the ceiling.
It's basically what she's asking for is to make it habitable space out of space that really is not conducive to live.
Okay. Got it.
With Bob Phoenix here, question for Rich. What are the front, rear, and side setbacks on this property?
Neighborhood commercial is, bear with me. Get the book here. Okay, neighborhood commercial, the front yard setback is 10, the side is 10, and the rear is 10. So it's not really a setback issue, it's that the existing non-conforming residential home is in the commercial zone.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Rich, we didn't identify who the voting members were going to be.
Okay. You can
I
do
don't
that
know
now.
if we have a I don't have the list in front of me. So
Yeah, and I don't have a list of who rotated through.
okay. Well, actually, Greg is the only alternate now, correct?
Correct.
That's
So-
correct. As far as I'm no, yeah, I'm the only alternate. I would say I would err, Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, to let the 5 seated members voted for this, and I'll just listen in.
Well, you can participate as well. So it would be myself, Dave, Dottie, Bob, and Peter. That's correct, right?
Correct.
Correct.
And nobody has a reason they have to recuse themselves on this?
No. Bob Phoenix, no.
Mark
Dave
Benjamin?
Martin, no.
Okay,
Dottie, no.
okay. All right, so,
Peter, no.
all right. So it'll be the 5 regular seated members. Dave, any questions?
Yeah, so, oh, sorry.
So just to be clear, the non-conformance is the fact that this is the house is in it's commercial, right? If it was in a residential, they wouldn't have to ask for this permit?
Correct.
Is that,
Because they're expanding a building that's dedicated to the non-conforming use.
yep, okay. Thank you.
Bob, any questions?
No, I've asked my only question. If there are no other questions, I would move to close this hearing and move to the next. If we're,
Let me shoot through the rest of the members. Dottie? Any questions?
No, I don't have.
Peter,
all
anything?
So, I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
So, it's okay, everything what I'm gonna do, or are you not gonna let me do it?
Oh, we're working on that right now. We're gonna ask some more questions and then we'll call for a vote.
Okay, okay, all right.
Dottie, anything you'd like to ask the applicant?
No.
No, I'm all set.
All right. Peter, anything?
No, I'm all set too.
Okay. Ms. Rentas, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, everything is okay.
All right. Is there anyone else on this meeting that would like to speak in favor of this appeal? Is there anyone else would like to speak in favor? Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor? Hearing none. Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition? Anyone like to speak in opposition? Anyone to speak in opposition? Richard, Dan, is there anybody else logged on that may be interested in this applicant before we close it? I can't see everybody in.
I'm not sure myself. There's a number of people signed in that are just telephone numbers, but I can unmute everyone, and anyone that wishes to speak up can speak at this time. If that works for you.
Yeah, I'd like to. I'm afraid we're going to move it too fast and we're going to lock somebody out. Last call. Is there anyone to speak in favor or opposition of this appeal?
Wait a minute, they're unmuted.
Dan, everybody's unmuted?
Yes, a number of people have remuted themselves, but I did unmute everybody.
Okay. Do you feel we're comfortable with me calling to close this before did I do due diligence on that is, I guess, my question.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list of people, and everybody that is currently muted are either commission members or here for the other application.
Okay. All right. Ms. Rentas, is there anything else you'd like to add before we close the appeal? Because once we close it, we can no longer take any additional testimony.
No, only I want the answer, so everything is gonna be okay, or you have to be waiting for the voting?
We'll find out in about 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
All right. Thank you. Could I get a motion to close the hearing from a member, please?
Motion is on the floor.
I second that motion.
So motion was made to close the hearing by Bob Phoenix and seconded by Dottie Travers. Is that correct?
Right.
Correct.
All right. Motion's made and closed. To close it, could I get a motion to act on this? No, we got to go to the next one. I'm sorry. You guys want to move right on this one, or you want to go right to the next one?
I would like to make a motion to move to change the agenda to move to discussion on this for the sake of brevity.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Peter Kuprak. All those in favor to move to alter the calendar to allow vote. All those in favor? Aye. Pete by Peter. Dottie?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Mark Benjamin, yes. So it's unanimous. We'll move forward. If I could get a motion for action.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve this application based on the hardship that the second floor is barely habitable for the conditions inside the house that the applicant has stated, and that the house is in a commercial district, and it is a residential structure that the applicant wants to remain a residential structure.
I'd second that, Bob.
Thank you.
So motion was made by Bob Phoenix and seconded by Peter Kuprak. Dottie, anything you'd like to add?
No, I'm all set.
Dave?
I'm all set.
All right. Greg, anything?
I'm good, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
All right, I will be voting in favor of this appeal. I do agree with you, Bob. It is it's residential neighborhood. The neighborhood has changed to commercial around it, and it gives the occupant reasonable use of their property. So I will be voting in favor of this. Mark Benjamin. All those in favor to grant? Bob Phoenix?
Aye.
Dottie Travers?
Yes.
Dave Martin?
Aye.
Peter Kuprak?
Yes.
Mark Benjamin also voting yes. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Miss. Oh, I'm sorry. I lost the application here. I'd like to thank the applicant for their patience in our upward learning curve for public meetings on Zoom. Ms. Rentas.
Yes.
Thank you
So
very
Ms.
much.
Rentas, it has passed. There was a 15-day appeal period that you can't do anything until that's expired. And then get with Rich and he'll show you how to get everything filed and proceed with this.
So So hold on. So they say no, so I can do nothing?
I can't stand it.
15
You
days.
can't do anything for 2 weeks, for 15 days.
So in 15 days, can I appeal? Now you want to say?
If somebody appeals our decision, they have 15 days to appeal it, but right now it is passed. So as long,
Oh, okay. No.
so
Okay.
as long as nobody appeals the decision, it will become permanent part of the record once you file it.
So I have to be waiting 15 days.
Correct.
Oh, okay. All right.
So in 15 days,
So-
get a hold of Mr. Shuck and he'll explain everything you need to do.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Moving to appeal V2004, 159 Dunham Street, application of Alexander Gabby, member of West Ledge Apartments LLC, Assessors Map 117, Block 1, Lot 15, R20 zoning district. Owner Elfrida Harvey, request relief of zoning regulation 4.1.1 to permit the use of existing single-family home as a rental office with a conference room and parking, all to be ancillary to the West Ledge Apartments. Rich, exhibits, please.
Okay. Exhibits. A, public hearing posted on this, public hearing notice posted on the website, ZBA application and grounds for appeal, notice of public hearing, a butters letter, list of abutters, the vision card, photos of the existing house, a site plan, and agenda to applicant.
Okay. Rich, is everyone else aware that we will not be able to vote on this tonight? It needs to go to Commission on City Plan?
No, I think we need to discuss that. That is section 7.10.2, subsection 5. It says, for any use variance application, the zoning board of appeals shall refer the application to the commission on the city plan. The zoning board shall provide the commission on the city plan within 35 days to review the comment review and comment on the application. The next CCP meeting is next Tuesday night.
That's correct, Rich.
Yeah, so that's next Tuesday night. And it's going to be on their agenda for that meeting. So, you know, it would be up to the commission members if they wanted to carry on to the next meeting or hold a special meeting to make a decision after the CCP meeting. But we need to get this public hearing opened and started.
Right, so we need to open this, start taking testimony. We will not close it, we'll continue it so we can have input from CCP. And then we will move after we get a recommendation from them, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Does everybody understand that? All right. All right. So you have all the paperwork, the letter from the butters, everything's in hand?
Correct.
It's all good?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right. Is the applicant available to speak, please?
Yeah, this is Mark Block. I'm attorney for the applicant. My office is at 138 Main Street in Norwich. As has been said, this is the application of West Ledge Apartments for a variance pursuant to section 4.1.1 of the regulations to permit the use of an existing single-family home as a rental office and conference room with associated parking. The use of the property will be ancillary to the West Ledge Apartments, which is under construction on adjoining property. The property in question at 159 Dunham Street is an existing single-family home with an attached garage and was constructed in 1955. As Exhibit E, you have the vision appraisal property card with the relevant property information. The house, as shown on the card, I think it's the second page of the card, is 996 square feet of living area and a 420 square foot garage. Now attached as Exhibit G, which I think Richard just passed over, is the plan to scale depicting the property and its relationship to Dunham Street and West Ledge Drive. So as you can see, to the north is the West Ledge Apartments under construction. To the east is West Ledge Drive. To the south is Dunham Street. And then to the west is an adjoining property with, and you can see right above the, where it shows as parking spaces, is a sewer easement, which is an unusable area, but is part of this property. The proposed variance would convert the existing house into an office and a conference room with 10 parking spots plus a handicap spot, which complies with zoning. Within the residential zone, home occupations are permitted under section 6.1.2, and we believe that the use to be made of the house is not unlike a home occupation such as a real estate salesperson would have, or an insurance agent, or other business that maintains an office in his or her home. However, given the limited size of the house, it's not conducive for both use as a residence and as an office. And we believe it is appropriate use to have a rental office for the apartments with a small conference area. And we believe that the language in 4.1.1 gives the board the power to grant this variance. That section reads, as general requirements, conformity of buildings and land, use, location, and occupancy. No building or lot shall be used or occupied, and no building or part thereof shall be erected, raised, moved, placed, reconstructed, extended, enlarged, or altered except in conformity with the regulations herein specified for the district in which it's located. No building shall be occupied by more than one dwelling unit or persons than prescribed for such building or lot for the district in which it is located. And we believe that the board has the power to vary this section and permit the use which would be restricted to the rental connected with the West Ledge Apartments. And we would propose that if the board grants this variance, that the variance be subject to the use of the property in support of the West Ledge Apartments so that the house could not later be sold and opened as an office for an unrelated use. So if it was ceased to operate in connection with West Ledge, it would convert back into a single family home. The parking that's associated with it on the plan is permitted within the zone, as is the handicap use. The access is off of Dunham Street. There's a driveway, which the plan shows as existing paved driveway to remain for one-way alternating access. So all we're asking the board to do is to take this 996 square foot home and permit us to use it in connection with the 120 unit apartment dwelling. So we have a separate segregated facility as a rental office, strictly, not for any other use.
Rich, what does that do? By doing this, are we changing the use to commercial or anything? Is it going to change the taxable, the way the property's taxed?
The use, because the property, that's an assessment question. It probably will change to a commercial assessment because it's the use of the property that they're assessing it on. But that's up to the assessors how they choose to do it. You know, it may, there's going to be a little difference because the parking lots, you know, that plays a factor into the assessment. Sometimes they change, sometimes they don't.
Okay. Is that about it in a nutshell, Mr. Block? You just want to take a residential and convert it to an auxiliary use to the West Ledge Apartments now?
That's essentially it. We feel that if the home were occupied by someone performing as an insurance agent, real estate agent, or something of that nature, they could use it for that. All we want to do is eliminate the residential occupancy aspect of it, so we can restrict the use to a rental office, which we think is analogous to a home occupation.
Okay. And if I'm looking at this plot plan correctly, you would access the parking for the rental office, but it wouldn't have a throughway into the West Ledge Apartments. It wouldn't be a side shortcut to go around West Ledge Drive or anything. That parking lot's strictly for the rental office?
That parking, yes, it's not parking for West Ledge.
Right, and it wouldn't connect into the West Ledge.
We have no plans to connect it to West Ledge.
Okay.
But to answer your question regarding taxation, we think that would probably be taxed at a higher value than it is now, if for no other reason, that the house would be renovated substantially from circa 1955 to current day standards and codes.
I have a question about Bob Phoenix. I have a question for Richard.
Yes.
Richard, is there within the home occupation section of our zoning code, is there a percentage limitation to what the home occupation can occupy the residential building as?
Bear with me. It's actually broken down three different ways. They have a home office, then they have a home occupation, a minor, and a major home occupation. Let's get to that section. I don't want to be misquoted, but the minor home occupation is limited to 25%. It's limited to 25% of the dwelling, not including basement or outbuildings. And the major home occupation, the reason for the major home occupation is basically if you can't meet any of the requirements of the minor, you kick into the major home occupation. Deanna and I did discuss this, and this is where, the discussion with Attorney Block that, Deanna felt that, even her discussions it was really no different than somebody having a real estate office in their house, except they're just not going to have living quarters in here. So she felt that it wasn't any more taxing than the home occupation.
As far as, I assume that's as far as utilities and utility load.
Yes. Yeah. But it says a major home occupation is any home-based business that cannot or does not comply with the requirements of 6.1.2, provided it is an accessory to a single-family dwelling and does not exceed 50% of the dwelling, the gross floor area, when a special permit is required for a major home occupation. Because technically it's not a major home occupation. We went the variance route with it. So there's no special permit requirement there.
Okay. My next question is directed towards Mr. Block. There was language that you cited about the home being reverted into a residential unit if and when the purpose of the rental office was no longer needed. Could you clarify that a little?
If the use of the property were not to be ancillary to West Ledge Apartments, if the rental office were closed and it was no longer being used in connection with the operation of West Ledge Apartments, then we couldn't, West Ledge Apartments LLC could not sell that property to another buyer who would use it for another purpose unconnected with West Ledge. So it would then revert back to a single family dwelling. And we could provide you with specific language to add in as a condition of the of approval.
Okay, the reason I ask is because I'd like to know if there was any concept on the part of the developer to use one of the new units as a rental office.
That question, I believe Alex, Gabby may be on. Is Alex on the line, Richard?
Yes.
Hi.
Alex just checked. Oh, there he is.
122 Lakewood Road, South Glastonbury, Connecticut. We currently don't have any plans to make a leasing office out of one of the units. We're normally very full, 99% or full. This space here is really to, help facilitate the leasing and then other administrative tasks that we have.
All right, thank you. Would there be, is there in the plan for development, is there going to be a separate maintenance, for the lack of a better term, a maintenance garage or a maintenance shop on the property as opposed to anywhere else in the city?
This is Alex Gabby again. We have several carports that we're building on the site. Most of those will be going to the residents. It's possible that we may delegate one of those for storage. We also have a clubhouse that's ancillary to the in-ground pool, and we may have some storage opportunity there as well.
Yeah, I was thinking most specifically about lawn and grounds maintenance.
We use subcontractors. We don't in-house that work, so we don't need to have storage for that.
I see. Thank you.
Sure.
Dave Martin, any questions?
Not at this time.
Dottie Travers, any questions?
Yeah, I do. First of all, by converting that property that's been presented here by Attorney Block, changing the zoning to basically a commercial, I thought once it was changed in the regulations, you could not go back to its original status of a residential property.
We're not changing the zoning status. We're taking a residential property and which has permitted within the zone home occupations. And what we're asking for is a variance of the residential regulation to allow the elimination of the residence portion of it and allow us to occupy it strictly as an office use. It does not change the zone. It remains part of the residential zone. And the variance, as I said, would terminate if and when the use of that property is no longer connected as a residential rental office or administrative office with West Ledge Apartments.
All right. Okay.
Greg Schlauer, any questions?
Not at this time, Mr. Chairman.
Peter Kuprak, any questions?
No, I think it pretty much been answered through Bob's questioning.
Bob Phoenix, any additional questions?
No, thank you.
Mr. Block, I do have a couple questions. Is the exterior character of the house going to change much, or do you have a profile of what it may or may not look like?
To my knowledge, we have not done any plans of what the renovations would be, interior or exterior at this point.
Okay. All right.
Mark, yeah, I would like to ask one more question if I could.
Sure.
All right, this question is to Mr. Gabby. You're the designer, the architect, or project manager. What is your position with this project?
I'm a member in the LLC, so I'm a part owner. My father.
Okay. Yeah. So you would be better to answer this question. Do you foresee any notification signage on this residential structure indicating that it is going to be the rental office?
If we do signage, we'll make sure it's approved by the city. You know, the residents will need to be guided with signage. If they come to the property, we don't want them to go to the wrong place. So there will be something to indicate that our business is there. But again, we will do everything, you know, complying with the city.
All right. Next question is towards to Richard. Any signage that would be placed on the property in a residential zone, I assume, would require another permit or another permit and a variance? Question.
It would just require a zoning permit. It would be the same signage that would be like a home occupation or any other sign that was permitted in the residential district, which I can tell you what is permitted size-wise in the residential district. Is okay, signs in a residential district, unless otherwise specified, one sign per lot shall be allowed in residential districts and shall be located at least 20 feet back of the street line. The following sign shall be allowed in all residential districts. A permanent one freestanding sign, provided that such sign may not exceed 12 square feet and an overall height of 6 feet. And then it could have one temporary sign the same.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Hearing none. Is there anything you'd like to add, Mr. Block?
Nothing I would like to add, no.
All right. Anything you'd like to add, Mr. Gabby?
All set. Thank you.
Okay. Hearing no other questions, I'm going to move to the audience. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of this appeal? Anyone to speak in favor of this appeal? Anyone to speak in favor of this appeal? Excuse me. Are you seeing any raised hands or anything on the screen, Mr. Deniska?
No, sir, I'm not.
Okay. Hearing none, is there anyone to speak in opposition? Anyone to speak in opposition? Anyone to speak in opposition? Again, can you unmute everybody and just give everybody a fair shot at this? Anyone to speak in favor or opposition of this appeal? Hearing none. And still got no raised hands or anybody popping up, correct?
Nope.
No.
Okay. Mr. Block, is there anything else you'd like to add at this point?
Nothing except that if it is at all possible, if the the board would consider a special meeting once the Commission on the City Plan has heard this matter, we would appreciate that.
Okay. As we discussed earlier, and as we open this presentation, we do need a decision, an opinion from Commission on City Plan, so we cannot close this. We cannot take a vote tonight. So if I could get a motion to continue to our next meeting.
Bob Phoenix, I'd like to make a motion to continue to the next meeting to be determined, scheduled to be determined by the members of the board.
I second that.
That was Dottie Travers? Okay. All those in favor to continue to the next regular scheduled meeting? Dave Martin?
Sorry, Bob Phoenix, aye.
Dottie Travers?
Aye.
Dave Martin?
Aye.
Peter Kuprek?
Yes.
Mark Benjamin also votes to continue. So the motion has passed. This will continue to the next meeting. We'll carry it over pending an opinion from Commission on City Plan. Other matters.
Mark, just to clarify, we're carrying that to the July meeting then?
At present, but under other matters, if somebody wanted to make a motion.
Okay.
So the applicant has requested that we hold a special meeting pending the decision. I don't know how we want to handle that, if we can. If you want to schedule it now, or if you want to wait for a decision from CCP and then have Rich do a roll call and see when we can schedule another meeting, what works for everybody.
Mr. Chairman, Greg here. I would say that'd be your best bet. Let's wait till we hear back from CCP first. See what they've got to say, and then we can go from there. I don't think jumping the gun and doing a meeting right away. We don't even know what they're going to say, what they're going to recommend. It would be nice for us to get what they're recommending, read it for a little bit before we move on and vote on it. So I would say yes. Let's wait till after City Plan looks at it and gives us a recommendation or what their comments are.
I think, Mr. Schlau, you meant to say I make a motion before you said all that, correct?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So I have a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second it. Dottie.
Seconded by Dottie. All those in favor to follow Mr. Schlau's motion that we, pending the hearing of that, we do a roll call with Mr. Shuck and possibly schedule another meeting to expedite this project.
Bob Phoenix, aye.
Bob Phoenix?
Aye.
Peter Kuprek?
Yes, sir.
Dottie Travers?
Aye.
Dave Martin?
Aye.
Mark Benjamin, also aye.
I think procedurally, and I'll have to discuss this with Attorney Block because, I don't want to create a grounds for appeal for you guys, and I'm certain Attorney Block doesn't want to have a grounds for appeal for his clients. But procedurally, I think if we have to decide tonight, continuing the public hearing, because that will be the record. Either we're going to next month or we're going to another date before then. To leave it hanging and try to schedule one, I'm not sure if procedurally that's the proper thing to do. Attorney Block, I actually ask you to weigh in on that.
I think you need to continue this to a date certain.
Correct.
I think you could have, within the period of time that you've got to decide these appeals, you could continue it to another date. But I think you need to at least continue it to a date certain rather than leave it open-ended.
Attorney Block, could we continue it until our next July meeting and then call for a special meeting in between?
I believe you could do that.
Is everybody comfortable doing with that at this point? You know, just have it scheduled for our regular meeting. And then pending the outcome, if Attorney Block, once it comes through, he could put in a request for a special meeting and we could attempt to accommodate it.
Mr. Chairman, Bob Phoenix, point of order. We have made a motion and it has been passed on the continuation. My question would be, do we need to cancel that past motion and create a new motion with a date specific? Question.
This is Mark Block. I thought if I heard it correctly, the motion that was passed was to continue it till the next meeting, which would be the July meeting.
That's the way I understood it as well.
So if that was the motion that was passed, I don't think you need another motion now. So if the CCP votes to recommend to approve this, then as was suggested, I could write a letter to Mr. Shook requesting a special meeting which the committee, the board could act on.
Okay, I thought that my motion included no date specific, pending the determination of the CCP. If we could have Catherine Rose weigh in on that, I'd like to get an opinion.
Bob, are we looking at the motion on the appeal or the motion under other matters?
The motion to continue. I made a motion to continue.
Okay.
But it was not date specific. So,
Greg here, Mr. Chairman. Bob, your motion did pass through. Mark had actually talked about bringing it to next meeting, to the July meeting. My motion was just that I wanted to get the letter from the city plan before anything was done, so we'd have time to read it. I didn't have a specific date on mine. The date on yours was, or one that Mark had talked about, was to bring this to our July meeting.
And he has that correct.
okay, I stand corrected. Thank you very much. I appreciate your indulgence.
So that would be July 14th. My concern, and this is why I would rather set a date somewhere between, if the commission chose to try to have a special meeting, I don't believe we can go backwards. So if we set it for July 14th, we can't circle around backwards and hold a meeting before then, because legally, procedurally, we have continued this public hearing until July 14th. If somebody reads that in the minutes and then takes that, it comes back for July 14th and finds out that we had a meeting prior to that, it could cause problems.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
You want to see her jump and go over to the fence and see what's going on.
It makes it even muddier now that we just verified that Bob's motion that has passed is continued to July 14th.
Oh, Greg here again, Mr. Chairman. I'm looking at my calendar book, and you know, granted, yes, we're talking 4 weeks from today, but city plan, Rich said is meeting next week, which would be like the 16th, somewhere in that week, the 15th through the 19th. We're only talking maybe another 3 weeks till our meeting. Is it such a rush that this house has to be turned over that quick to keep this project going? Because they can't wait an extra 3 weeks until we come back to our regular meeting. I mean, I don't see where flipping a house into a office space is like tremendously that tough right now. I mean, if they're working on building this Westledge Drive apartments back up again or whatever they are, I don't see where another 3 weeks after the commission plan meeting, we still have time that we have to read this. I don't want to make a vote or discuss anything until I see what the city plan has, and I don't want to get it in an email on say a Thursday or a Friday, and we're voting on it on a Monday if I have other plans for the weekend. I'd like to have at least a good week to read it over and understand what's going on. So I don't see a problem with holding it into the July meeting to the 14th.
This is
Any
Mark. It was not that the date was critical to the West Ledge apartment project. It was more to accommodate dates that we had with the owner of the property relative to closing on the property. That was more to meet those deadlines than it had to do with the project itself. So is it critical for the 3 weeks? In the grand scheme of things, probably not.
Any other comments from board members? Dave?
Not at this time.
Bob?
Nothing, thank you.
Dottie?
No, I'm all set.
Peter?
Nah, all set.
All right, Greg, anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think I've said enough, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. I understand Mr. Block's concern. I kind of figured that was the reasoning, that they were looking to do this so they could close and move on the property in a timely fashion. I'm afraid that, as Mr. Shuck said, if we start moving dates and we start trying to rescind motions, we're going to make this worse and put ourselves into a potential appeal. And although I'd like to be accommodating, I think the best thing to do is just leave it as it stands and give it the extra 3 weeks. Any other comments on that?
Sounds good.
I agree.
That sounds good, Joe, with me. Mark, I kind of agree with Greg on it.
Okay. Any other matters, Rich?
None that I believe, other than we had the resignation of Joanne. That was it. We discussed that already.
Okay.
She lasted only 1 month and then she left us, huh?
With,
Wow.
with the phase 2 opening up on June 17th and going to meetings of more than 10 or 50, does it look like City Hall is going to be open and we might be doing this in July from a meeting?
It's still unclear, but it looks like there may be that potential. I'm not sure. Maybe Dan Deniska can weigh in on this if he's heard anything different.
I'm not sure because our building is having some renovations done, so it may be longer that 23 Union is closed to the public. We may be closed to the public till mid to late July, I think. So it could be another virtual meeting.
Greg here again. Just one question, either Dan or Rich. It doesn't matter. I know they have they have like a auxiliary council chamber up on the 3rd floor of City Hall. That does provide more room and more space than our living room at 23 Union. Is there any possibility to moving these up to that one until 23 Union's ready to be used again?
35.
Sorry, I couldn't quite
Yeah,
hear you.
335. It could be a possibility. It's more of a scheduling thing. So we'd have to look into that and Rich could get back to you.
Okay.
Right. And if need be, we can still hold meetings here because we do it in the basement in the lower level. We have the handicapped accessible entrance there. And the construction is really in the front lobby or the front of our office. So it doesn't affect the front foyer either. So we should be okay.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything else under other matters? Hearing none, if I could get a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, Bob Phoenix.
I
Second,
second it, Dottie.
seconded by Dottie Travers. All those in favor to adjourn?
Bob Phoenix, aye.
Dottie, aye.
Dave Martin, aye.
Greg Slough?
I was waiting for Peter. I was giving him a chance.
Peter?
Aye.
Mark Benjamin, aye. Meeting adjourned.
Hey, Dottie.
Take care.